Looks like we've got a few more people, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for tuning in to this webinar introduction to the new Wildfire Apps website. My name is Sarah Hartsberg. I'll be your presenter today. I'm going to spend 30 or 40 minutes showing you the website, including a brief look at each of the different applications that are accessible from it. I'll do a quick demo of one of the apps using a mobile device and collector for ArcGIS. I'll also show you where to find the training material to help you learn how to use both the web mapping applications and collector. And lastly, I'll explain how to get access to the applications that are available from the website. If you have any questions as I am talking, please type them into the question window and I'll answer them at the end of the presentation. The webinar is set up for an hour, so we should have plenty of time to get to everyone's questions. If you do have a question that absolutely can't wait, please put it in the chat window. My coworker, Emily Hadlock, is also on the call, and she'll be responding to chats that come up during the presentation. Okay, so the intent of the Wildfire Apps website is to provide one central point for accessing a variety of NPS fire-related web mapping applications, as well as the training materials and resources associated with them. The website is a Google site in the Department of Interior domain, and to access it, you will need to be logged into your DOI email account. If you're not a Department of Interior employee, it is still possible to access all of these apps. You'll just have to do so through ArcGIS Online. All of the apps available on the site are designed to support specific tasks that firefighters are often involved with related to prescribed and wildfire. All of the maps work seamlessly with the NPS Wildfire geodatabase. Any data entered using the desktop app or synced from a mobile device will be stored in the database. Data that already exists in the database will be applications. None of the applications require ArcGIS software or skills to view or edit. Instead, they're viewable and editable through a web browser on a desktop, laptop, or tablet, and will look something like this, as well as using the collector for ArcGIS app on Android or iOS mobile devices. Applications accessible from the website, each one, as I said, being geared toward a specific task. There's a fire observation map, a facility and community assessment map, a burn plan map, an incident data collection map, and treatment maps. There's actually a treatment entry and a treatment viewing map. And go ahead and go to the live website. Each map available from the website has its own page under the Maps tab within the website. We'll take a look first at the facility and community map as an example. Each map's page will tell you what the map's intended use or purpose of the map is. In this case, we can see that this map is intended for viewing wildfire risk assessment data. The page is also where you'll find any links to training materials or resources which are specific to the map. This map does not actually have any specific training material. If data would appear down here, each page will also have a large desktop web mapping application. So I will go ahead and do that at this time. Each application that's accessible from the website will have a similar look and similar features available in it. So I'll go over some of those briefly while we're looking at this map. There'll be a panel in the upper left corner of the map where the map's title is. To the left of the panel are going to be buttons for zooming in and out of the map. The first icon on the panel is the default extent, which is also what you'll see when you first open the map or refresh the page or refresh your browser window. From this extent, you can use the Find My Location, which is icon, which is the next one to the right on the tool. Or you can use the text box to type in an area that you want to zoom to. Go ahead and zoom into Zion National Park. You can also use, you can also press and hold the Shift key on your keyboard to zoom in even further if that text search doesn't get you quite to where you want to be. Moving right across the toolbar, the next icon is the legend. And this displays a little layer, in other words, the layers that are drawing at the map's current extent. The next icon is the layers icon, and this will show you all of the operational layers in the map, regardless of whether you're zoomed in to an extent where they'll be visible or not. You can use the layer window to turn layers on and off. You can also use it to adjust the opacity of the layer. So if you wanted to make this translucent, you just slide the bar to the left. The next icon on the panel is the base map gallery. You can use this to select from your data again. And change that to imagery. The next tool is a measure tool. And you can use this tool to measure an area, the length of or distance of a line, and you get coordinates for a specific point on the map. So you select the tool that you want to use, choose the units that you want to click on the point on the map. The last tool that's available on the panel for this map and for all the maps that we'll look at today is the print tool. And this just allows you to create a quick, very basic map printout from the extent that you're currently zoomed into. So you can just add a title to your map here. And then if you click the drop-down arrow to the right of the word print, you'll have a couple options. You can change the orientation of your map, and then also choose the type of file that you want your map saved as. So we'll go ahead and just pick portrait PDF. It's ready. This print button will change to a hyperlink that says print at that. So you can see what the map looks like. And then you come up with something like this. Okay. That's a quick overview of the web map layouts as they are now. In the near future, we are planning to add a link to the maps, which will take you to another website where you can run reports, tabular and chart-based reports that run using the data that is in the map. We'll also be adding a tool that allows you to export spatial data from the maps in the near future. So again, this map is for viewing wildfire risk assessment data. It could be used for viewing the assessment data during an active incident, or this is a navigational tool for crews that are data using CartoPack. We're still trying to collect the data, but I found that using Collector, we've got access to better base maps and help us navigate a little bit better when we're in the field. You can click on any of the facilities in the map and see that feature by the crews in the field. You can also see any photos, sketch maps, or other documents that have been attached to the facility. And I should mention that this map is not fully functional yet. The data you're seeing in the map now is a small sample set of data. We anticipate having the rest of the assessment data available in this map for viewing in mid-May. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next mapping application, which we'll look at will be the observation map. This map's intended use is for recording fire behavior, smoke, and weather observations on prescribed and wildfire incidents. It's really ideal to be recording observations, during an entire shift on prescribed or wildfire. There aren't any training materials specific to this app either. I'm going to go ahead and click on the observation. Click on the icon to open the map. And we'll zoom into the Grand Canyon this time. We've got loaded into the database from Grand Canyon. And into 2011. Okay, and we'll click on the layers icon just so you can see what layers are available in this map. As you can see, it only contains the observation feature classes, fire behavior, smoke, and weather. We can view, from the map, we can view, zoom in just a little bit more, we can view existing data in the database. So in particular, in this case, a fire observation, and we can see any photos or other attachments that are associated with that. You can see the picture of the fire behavior at the time the observation was recorded. We can also, unlike the facility and community map, which was just for viewing, this map allows users to edit data. So in addition to the tools we looked at on the panel for the facility and community map, we've also got a new icon here, which is the edit icon. We'll click this, and it allows us a new observation record by creating a new point on the map. So we can click the weather observation, click the map to add a point, and then we see the form pop up for the weather observation. These fields are all, they match the forms that are on the Interagency Wildland Fire Module observation forms. And then as I mentioned earlier, in the future we're hoping to have a link from the map that will allow you to run reports for the observation data. So the link will take you to another website where you'll be able to enter the name and dates that you want to run the reports for, and then the report will be produced and you can export it as an Excel, Word document, or PDF, whatever the case may be. So. Next, we're going to go back to the website and take a look at the treatment map. And the intent of the treatment entry map is to support the requirements for spatial data reporting. All proposed and completed treatments entered into NIFPORs are to now have an associated spatial polygon. The treatment entry map provides an easy way for park-level fire personnel to create the required spatial data for fuels treatments and link it to the appropriate WFME and NIFPORs records without ever having to use ArcMap. As we scroll down this page, you'll see the icons for accessing the map. And you'll also see that this map does have training materials specific to entering the data with the map. If you're going to be creating treatment polygons this way, I would highly recommend reading this before you start entering data. I'm going to go ahead and open the treatment entry map. And before I do any editing, I'm going to zoom into Cades Cove here at Great Smokies. Center this a little bit. Okay, and before I create a treatment, we're going to look at the layers that are available in this map. You can see we've got two layers for entry by status as a polygon, and treatment entry by status as a line. So you have two options for creating the treatments. You would use a line if you were creating a treatment that were along a road or some other straight feature. You can draw the line, and then in the pop-up forms you can enter the distance that the buffer will be, enter the distance of the buffer along that road for the treatment. Most other cases you're going to enter create your treatment as a polygon and create a treatment polygon here at Cades Cove. I have to choose, before I start creating my feature, I need to choose whether what type of polygon this is. So we're just going to assume that this is I'm getting ready to submit a funding for a NIFPORs funding request, and then choose proposed polygon. And then just click on the map to start drawing the polygon. And when I'm done, I'll double click, and it'll take just a minute for the forms to pop up. And then I can enter as many of the fill in as many of the fields as I can. The treatment ID will be the NIFPORs treatment ID. The treatment name will be the name of the treatment itself. Project name, treatment type. So yeah, this is a little bit too far over. But there's a drop-down menu under here, and you can choose broadcast burn, chemical treatment, whatever the case may be. Treatment status proposed is filled in when we choose, because we've chosen what type of treatment we're entering. We can fill in the acres later, fiscal year, unit code. We've got all the parks here. Okay, and we just close the record and that saves it. We can see that it's being symbolized green for proposed treatment at this point. If this treatment receives NIFPORS funding, then it will become a planned treatment, and we can move this over a little bit so we can see all of those. Click on it again to open up the attributes, and we can change it to a planned, the status to planned treatment. The other options for status are initiated, so treatment is in progress, and then once treatment's finished, it can be becomes a completed treatment. And that's all there is to really. That's all there is to creating a new treatment polygon. And again, that's going into the database in the intermediate event feature class. So go ahead and close that. The treatment viewing map. None of the layers in this map can be edited. It's strictly for viewing purposes, as the name implies. But it does allow you a few different options for viewing the treatments that are in the database already. You can view them by treatment type, treatment year, or treatment status. So just as a quick example, you can look at the treatment year, treatments by year, and you can look at the Grand Canyon again. Okay, and here we can see all of we can look at the layers for this map. So we've got points of origin, treatment line, treatment polygon by fiscal year, event, master. The event layer from the master version of the database by fiscal year. So we can go ahead and turn off point of origin, and that'll leave us look at the legend. Make a little bit more sense. So that'll show us all of the treatments for all the event polygons in the database by fiscal year. That's the treatment viewing map, and that's treatments by year. Close that. And we're going to go on to the burn plan map. This app was customized to support prescribed fire planning, preparation, implementation, and post-burn monitoring. Go ahead and click to open this. And we're going to zoom into Cades Cove again for this example. And we'll look at the layers tool to see which layers are in this map. We're going to turn some of these off just to make this clearer for the demonstration. But we've got our observation layers here that you could collect weather observations when you're getting ready to submit your spot forecast before the burn, collect observations during the burn. I'll turn this off. Points of origin, water sources, and halospots. We've got the treatment entry, so we're seeing the treatment layer that we entered using the treatment entry map. And then we've got master, so all completed treatments in this area. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off, and that will get rid of a lot of this. So you can see we've also got in this layers, we've got a burn plan point, line, and polygon. We'll open the legend so you can get a sense of what some of those options are. But basically, these are going to allow us to create features on the map to represent things we might encounter and or want to communicate to others while we're scouting, prepping, or implementing a prescribed fire. So as an example, if you were burn boss, you may already have an idea. You've got your planned treatment polygon here. So this is your unit that you're getting ready to prep. You may already have an idea where a few sensitive areas are located within that unit, or know where you'd like a mow line placed. So you can go ahead and add a couple of those before you send folks out in the field. And again, that's just using the edit icon. You're selecting the type of feature you want to add. So if we say, I think there's another cemetery up here in this corner, so we can create another sensitive area. And then we've got a few attributes we can fill out. Call this, we can give it a label, we'll call it just a cemetery. And you can put in sort of description in here that we want. Status, it's not really applicable for this one, but if we were creating a mow line or something like that, we could say that it's planned. Crews finish putting in the mow line, and they can change that status to completed. We'll go ahead and close that. Once you've added things that you're aware of, without going into the field, then the field crews can download the maps to their mobile devices, and as they're out prepping and scouting, they can make updates or add new features to the map while they're in the field. At the end of the day, when they return to the office, they can sync their edits, and then that evening during your debriefing, or the next day during the morning briefing, the map can be used to discuss what remains to be done in terms of prep work, or mitigating hazards, etc. The map can also be used to quickly print paper maps for crews that are being sent out into the field to do prep work. And these maps make it a little bit easier to print a larger briefing map. You'd have to do that from ArcMap, but since all of the data you've collected or entered using the apps is already in the database, this really only requires adding the feature service to an ArcMap document, and then applying a map template to that ArcMap document. Even if you aren't involved with planning a burn from start to finish, you might also find this map useful if you've been ordered to do some prep on a large burn unit, where the prep will take several months, maybe, and different crews are rotating through for 2 weeks at a time here and there. You could use this map so that you have you have the burn unit perimeter accessible, and then you can also draw in use the treatment polygons to show. Or prep work polygon to show what your crew is able to accomplish each day or during that role, as well as communicate any hazards or areas that need attention to crews that will be coming in after yours. Okay, so we're going now to the incident data collection map, and that's the last app that I'll show you today. This map, for fire personnel without GIS skills, this map can be used on type 4 or 5 incidents. It can easily be shared with other individuals on the incident, and it doesn't matter if they are NPS employees or not. The data can be exported if it needs to be transferred somewhere other than the NPS Wildfire geodatabase afterwards. It has that. We're not going to look at the web mapping application for this map. We're going to actually just look at this in Collector, but it does have a web map that can be used for editing in addition to the Collector option for non-GIS users. And then for GIS personnel who have ArcMap experience and or are functioning as a GISS on an incident, this map's main page has documentation as well as videos available for using ArcGIS line and Collector on a more complex incident, say a type 3 or greater incident. This first document here below the training documents, the workflow document provides recommended steps for managing your instance, submit geodatabase, ArcGIS online feature services and maps, and use of the Collector app in order to help you keep data in sync between the different platforms. GIS specialists can modify the steps in the maps and the workflow to meet the unique situation of their team or incident. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. I need to switch presenters so I can show you my iPhone screen. Give me just a moment to do that. it. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen Collector before, this is what the Collector icon looks like. Everything I'm about to show you is covered in the Collector training videos that are available on let me make this. That are available on the website under the training material for the incident data collection map. I highly recommend watching the video that goes with whatever type of device you're going to be using before you start collecting data in the field for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. The only thing I've done before opening the Collector for ArcGIS on my phone, I am already signed in. If you're not signed in to the app already, you'll be prompted to do that before you get to this list of maps. There are two options when you sign in. There's an ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS for Portal. I know that some of the folks here at Smokies, for example, have both types of accounts. So to access any of the wildfire apps, you're going to need to sign in with your ArcGIS Online account. Okay. So when you first sign in, you're going to see a list of all of the maps that are in the groups that you've been invited to in ArcGIS Online. Okay. You'll see in the list of maps, all the wildfire apps applications have been set up to be taken offline, and that's what this on the iPhones or iPads. You'll see this cloud icon with the down arrow. I believe on the Android devices it just says download here. So you can use that button to download a map for offline use. And when you do that, you'll be given a couple options. You'll need to select your work area and the level of detail that you want in the base map to use with the map. That'll download to your phone. The only way you can sideload base maps to your phone, but in order to get the features out of the Wildland Fire Geo database, you do need to have a connection, a Wi-Fi connection, to download those. Once you've got a map on your phone, you'll see that cloud for the iPhone. It'll say you'll have both an up arrow and a down arrow. The number 1 here indicates that I've made one change to this map that needs to be synced to the database. The other way I can tell that I've got the device or the map downloaded to my device is that there's this blue bar on the top of the thumbnail for the map that says on device. I'm going to go ahead and open up. There was a fire here at Great Smoky Mountains National Park this week, so I'm going to go ahead and open the incident data collection map. And I'm zoomed into that fire already, but one of the folks on the fire is actually collecting data using this app this past week. It was a small fire with minimal fire staff, and the crew had access to Wi-Fi in the evenings and at some locations on the fire, so it was really a perfect scenario for them for trying out this app. I'm going to show you some of the functionality that's available within the app. Across the top of the screen, if you hit the maps, button here, that'll take you back to that list of maps we were just looking at. This next icon here is going to take you to your location if you have the GPS turned on your phone. The plus button is a collect tool that will add a feature, and we'll do that here in a minute after we look at all the tools. The magnifying lens is a search tool, and you can type in a place name, address, or coordinates, and use that to zoom to that location on the map. And then the more tool, go ahead and click that. And that's going to give us a few more tools we can use. Starting from the left, we've got bookmarks, and so you can actually create a tab for the fire that you're on. There's some default bookmarks in here that come with the map itself when you download the map. And then there's let's go back to the More tab. There is a layers tool, just like with the web apps. It allows you to turn on and off layers from the map. So if there's something you don't want to see in this particular map, you can turn it off here. It also gives you, you also have the measure distance tool, just like we did in the web application, and then a base layers gallery, which you can use if you are using the app in a connected environment. This will not work if you are working in a disconnected environment. So just as an example, we'll add a feature. By default, it's going to be added at your current location. If you want to put it somewhere else, you can tap, we'll choose one and do that. So you'll see the features that are available in this map are features that you'll recognize from VMIT. And so we'll go ahead and create a spot fire point. So like I said, if you don't want to put it at your current location, you can use this map icon here, and then that just takes you to the map page, and you can draw the point, line, or polygon that you want on the map itself. And then you click this icon to go back to the attributes. You can put in comments, label, coordinates here if you'd like. And then when you're ready, you can hit submit, and that will send that feature to the database at that point in time. Okay. So that's just a quick overview of Collector. Let's change back to my main screen for the presentation. Okay. Okay. And then, let's see. Okay, so that's just a really, really quick look at all of the applications that are available from the website. I would definitely suggest taking a closer look at those on your own time. And then in order to request access, so to view or edit any of the maps, you're going to need an ArcGIS online account. If you don't have one, you can request access by filling out the form on the Request Access tab of the website. If you do already have an account, you're going to need to be invited to the group that contains the map or apps you want to use. So you can use the Request Access form for that as well. You can request access to all of the maps that I've just showed you, or only to specific maps, the ones that you think you would use. Keep in mind when you're requesting access to the maps that everything that you have access to is going to show up when you open Collector. So if you don't necessarily need a map, you might not want to request access to it. But once you've been given an ArcGIS Online account or invited to the group that contains the map you want to use, you will need to log in to the ArcGIS Online once to accept the invitation. From that point on, you're not going to need to access, if you're a Department of Interior employee, you're not going to need to access the ArcGIS Online website again. You can use this website to access the maps. You will be prompted to log in when you open one of the web mapping applications, but as soon as you've done that, log in with your ArcGIS Online account. Once you've done that, you'll be taken to the mapping applications that I just showed you. I've showed you some of the training materials as we've gone along. The rest of the materials are located under the training material tab, and of course these are what I showed you as we were going was specific to each application, and then everything that's available here under the training material is fairly general. So there is a lot of good information here. Under the ArcGIS Online tab, this will walk you through everything from joining a group, so accepting that initial invitation that you're going to be sent when you get your ArcGIS Online account, to how to use the kind of an overview of the web mapping applications. And then the Collector app has lots of links to just quick references for specific tasks that you'll want to use Collector for. And I just wanted to point out one more time, Deborah Traver, who put this website together, has put together a couple really good videos. These two are both very short, but they're for new users to Collector. And I would definitely, again, recommend taking the time to watch these before you go out in the field for the first time with Collector. Okay, I have just a few last items to cover. First, as you're using these apps, please submit feedback. If there's something you'd like to see in an app or something that could be slightly different to make things easier on your end, please let us know. You can do that by using the Contact tab and the form on that page of the website. Secondly, I don't want to discourage anyone from testing or practicing with the apps, but they are all pointed to production data right now. If you're using them to get familiar with the applications for training purposes, please make it very clear that the data you're creating is in fact not real data. Give it a label like delete me or test or something like that. And make sure to put your name in as the collector where that's an option. And then for those of you who are Department of Interior employees, here's the URL for the Wildfire Apps website. If you're not a Department of Interior employee but have questions or feedback about the apps, you may contact Skip Adel directly via email. Skip is one of the project coordinators. And that's all I have for today. I hope this webinar has provided you with a good overview of the Wildfire Apps website and given you some ideas for using the mapping applications that can be accessed from the site. Questions and answers from this webinar session will be posted with the videos. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact Skip. And thanks again for your interest in this webinar. Have a good afternoon.